There is this pictorial depiction which is trending on social media. There's a queue for silver and there is no one waiting outside small cap. Okay.
People are slightly worried about they haven't got returns in last 1 year or so. People are sending links like FD se bhi kam return diya hai and all of that. So what is really happening in Indian market?
Equity markets is a game of waiting. You cannot expect, spots of quick income and quick profits. That's not going to happen in equity markets. So what it really needs you to do is build patience and you will create wealth in the medium to long term. So let's say you have 100 rupees, right? And you want to invest this in, let's say, a portfolio of large, mid and small, and then you want to get into debt a bit and probably into some multi-asset where you get gold and silver exposure for that for matter, or you want to even do some bonds. So bonds and debt you can go all in because those are rate led, right? Interest rate led. So you want to capture that interest rate, so you want to go in all in. But let's say for any of the equity portion, what you do is do staggered, meaning you put 100 rupees. If it's through a mutual fund, you put it in a liquid fund. If you're doing stocks by yourself, you just put it in cash and then keep adding into that position and try to close that within 6 months. Investing cannot be a sprint, right? It has to be a marathon. And to survive a marathon, right, you need to be disciplined, right? You can't start running for 1 kilometer very fast and then slow down your pace so much that you can't even finish the marathon. So look at it like that.
Hello, welcome to another edition of This or That. I am joined today by Sneha Jain, a CEO of Wealthrist. So, hi Sneha.
Hi, it's lovely again to be back to your show and I'm really looking forward to it.
So Sneha, people are slightly worried about they haven't got returns in last 1 year or so. People are sending links like FD se bhi kam return diya hai and all of that. So what is really happening in Indian market and how to look at it?
So, as you rightly said, that, people are worried about the returns and some of the other asset classes have given much better returns. And, probably the equity markets have been shaken up a bit last 1.5 year. First thing I would like to, just put out here is, first of all, when you compare equity with FD return, right, that is just not a fair thing to do at all because each asset class, it's not something which will give you a return that you expect every year is not going to be the same in equities. So one has to understand that you come in equities with a holding period of at least 3 to 5 years, right, minimum. And if you're going to look at returns every 1 year, this is not the space you will like to be in also. So of course that is one very one aspect that one person should look at when investing in equities. Second, why this is happening. Of course we see a lot of geopolitical right now. We have a lot of access to data, right? So we are seeing geopolitical issues, some war somewhere. Trump gets up and says I want to buy into Greenland, and sometimes so there are a lot of geopolitical things that are that bring about uncertainty in capital flows. So when there is uncertainty, what do the FIIs do, right? They pull out of our markets and probably put it back in their own markets. It could be fixed income, gold, things like silver now, or even their own domestic equities. So what happens is we lose capital from that perspective, and it goes back into their own markets. And at that time, of course, our domestic markets may not do well. Also, Indian currency has really depreciated, right? So for an FII to make money, there has to be both. The markets have to do well and the currency also has to appreciate, which has not happened for India. So of course, again, there is no merit for these investors to stay invested in India, and that's the reason we see capital outflows. But this will definitely change, or there will be uptake within the Indian markets. Why? In the last 1 year, if you go to see, the Indian markets were very highly valued when the FIIs started pulling out money. Now, to justify high valuations, what do you need? High earnings, right? And last 1 year, we did see the numbers were not looking so great. But now the forecast are about at least 7-8%. So if the earnings will come, so will the valuations and so will the money come back to India. And once you start seeing that, there will be, equity markets will definitely do well. Of course, with the interest rates, staying where they are, we shall do pretty fine from here on. But equity markets is a game of waiting. You cannot expect, spots of quick income and quick profits. That's not going to happen in equity markets. So what it really needs you to do is build patience, and you will create wealth in the medium to long term.
So probably people who've been investing for a while, they must have seen good returns also. ठीक है, उन्होंने रिटर्न्स देखे हैं तो दे कैन हैव पेशेंस. पर जो लोगों ने साल भर पहले स्टार्ट किया है, उन्हें तो एकदम लाइक प्रोबेबली द फर्स्ट टाइम इन्वेस्टर्स, उनके लिए क्या बोलना चाहते हैं?
So I would just say it's very recency bias. वो आए ही थे equity markets में because उन्होंने इतना सब सुन लिया था market से, अरे इतना return बन जाता है, इसमें चले जाते हैं, right? Looking at the past performance. So the starting point would have just been a little misled or would have not been the right point, right? Because उन लोग बहुत expectation से आए हैं. And for those investors, I would just again say, if your starting point has been wrong, yet if you believe, right, Indian markets will do well because our domestic demographics are so good given the current economy, right? There is no stopping India at the moment. If you just believe and stay invested in this country or in the right asset allocation mix for you for the next 3-5 years, patiently just keep building on your portfolio rather than going all in. If you are not a very not a person who likes volatility, keep staggering your investments, and within a 5-year period you should see the volatility also going out. And of course we do expect earnings to come back, and once earnings will, your markets will, they always collide with the markets always do, they are always a nature of the earnings. And if your expected earnings are good, the markets will reflect that. So it is going to happen sooner or later, but patience is the key in this.
So इसको can I summarize like this, that there's no point of looking at 1.5 years of returns. If you want to participate in equity markets, you have to have long-term horizons, and there will always be cycles. So have patience, and things will improve.
Absolutely.
So Sneha, I mean, last 7-8 months or so, I'm hearing a lot of advice about investing in global markets, कि internationally invest करना चाहिए. I've been in the industry for a while, but ये मुझे ऐसा लग रहा है कि last 1.5 से कुछ ज़्यादा हो रहा है. ठीक है, ज़्यादा बात हो रही है इस पे. क्या ये इसलिए हो रहा है बिकॉज इंडियन मार्केट्स फ्लैट हैं और ग्लोबली अच्छे रिटर्न्स आए हैं लास्ट 1.5 years से? What is the reason why people are suddenly talking so much about investing globally?
So I think as a firm also, right, we've been stressing on actually global investing from 2024. We've even written it on a lot of our outlooks actually. Why I believe it's so is because the world is changing, right? There are so many things happening globally, and a lot of these global products are also used in a lot of things we do, right? Look at anything that we all wish for or have, right? Apple, your you use Google for everything. So at the end, what are these are all global companies, right? So if you have access to global investing, and markets have opened up from where they were earlier, there were routes to investing globally were not that many, but markets are only opening up through Gift City now, or even feeders now have restricted money, but there is Gift City. There are ways to invest in the markets directly, like you can actually buy into stocks globally. So definitely I believe that there are some markets which look extremely attractive from a valuations perspective, and just having 100% allocation to India from your equity allocation. Now, when I'm talking asset allocation, right, this is a good matrix of asset allocation where you have a little bit globally as well to also manage currency for you, right? Because our currency, again, as I mentioned last time also, it has only depreciated over the years. So why not have some allocation globally, which gives you good attractive valuations? There are companies which we actually all buy into, right? These are very basic options. Like now look at the EV, that is BYD. You see it on the street everywhere, right? So if you have an allocation to something like that, in the bigger picture it will always help from a domestic perspective. So even if your domestic equity allocation is about 80-85%, there's no harm having that a bit of allocation to global economies. At the moment, what we find attractive is Southeast Asian countries. They look pretty interesting from a policy tailwind perspective, and also some of these European economies are looking interesting at the moment. China has been on our radar also. So there are, global opportunities which can pan out very well if added to your overall portfolio allocation to some extent. Of course, India has its own benefits of investing, and we do believe in the India bull story. But definitely in terms of asset allocation, I will definitely think 10-15% is a good allocation to have globally, because of the opportunities available and the valuations that they stand at.
So how should one start? Where can they start doing investment
So
globally?
see, most of the funds now do not allow global investing, but there are some mutual funds which are yet, giving you allocation. You can add up through SIP route also, or you can just take partial allocation to these funds. There are feeder routes which are available. There are also some specific funds which yet have an active allocation, even in mutual funds, where they do about 5-7% allocation to global stocks. So that may be a very passive way of investing in global if you're not an expert, and you need someone to, you want to have some global allocation but don't want to do it actively yourself. That can be a good way to start with. Or you can look at, of course, stocks that you can buy on your global demat, which you can, your trading accounts, which you can easily buy into, but that is only for people who do understand stocks at all, right, at your own level. And the third would be through Gift City. There are a few retail funds which have opened up, so do not need a minimum investment. Gift City is ideally for institutional investors, but there are a few retail funds that have just opened up, so that is an allocation also that you can possibly take.
So Isna, in today's market, in today's condition and whatever news we have, if someone were to allocate their money, where should they do? And let's say somebody already has a portfolio and they want to rebalance, what assets they should look at? What should be the allocation right now?
So, there is this pictorial depiction which is trending on social media. There's a queue for silver, and there is no one waiting outside small cap, okay? And in 2024, when small caps had done very well, or 2023 end, there was a queue outside small cap and there was no one waiting on silver, right? So what is this? What does this mean, right? It just says so much by that pictorial description, that investors want to always crowd where the noise is, right? And that's where exactly we are here, right? We are kind of telling you, do not crowd just basis on recency, because everybody is now going and buying a silver when it has literally skyrocketed. Is it going to add more value from here on, is a very big question. And now there can be forecast it will double or triple or wherever from here on. But of course that's what did to small cap, right? Whoever would have entered, as you said, back in 23-24 would have not made any money in the last 1.5 year, right? So I would say the best way to invest is stick to your asset allocation. Stick to a very simple, disciplined way of investing. And that can be in any piece that you, even let's say for pre-made portfolios which are already done, or you are starting off, it's very important to decide how far away you need the money, you do your goal planning, and then you stick to an asset allocation which works for that period or that time. And let's say if you don't even have any goals and you've just made a portfolio, rebalance for wherever it has gone. So if you've taken some allocation to an asset class which has gone up maybe 50, 70, 80%, I would definitely come back to some positioning where the allocation is some profit booking, where probably the allocation makes sense, right? Do not go all in, do not add your metal exposure cannot be 40%. It cannot just be like that, because if you look at historical returns, it will all mean revert, because maybe those couple of asset classes will just plateau and will not make any returns, and then all your returns will just look the same. So that's why it is so important to stick and to be disciplined about your investment journey, whether you're starting today or you've started earlier. Rebalance to your actual original asset allocation. That is very, very important, so that you also see what your risk profile from now on is, and then you again look at your asset allocation and probably adjust to that. If you've gone very high on small caps when it was not the right time, as I said, everyone flocking there, now if it could be silver, after a couple of years it will again be equities. So it just cannot work like that. You are just continuously going after the best performing asset class, and in that you are actually losing most of your returns. That's why you need to be everywhere, present proportionately everywhere, and then it will work for your alpha creation in from any format, right? So I know lot of clients who are like completely redeeming their equity portions and just putting it in metals, and there are a lot there, because there's so much noise, right? And you cannot stay away from that noise. And then if you make such decisions of completely reallocation just because something else is doing well, will this work for the next 5 years? I really have my doubts. So it kind of has to add up, right, in your overall asset allocation. For someone who is just starting off, because there's so many geopolitical issues, right? And we hear volatility so much, because, and how much ever you say, right, you may be aggressive, you may be high risk taking, but when it comes to seeing the red in your portfolio, actually you may not be. So I would just say, for those investors, it's always better to go a little bit staggered, and do not build your positions on day one, so that you can keep investing at more and more market lows, and go in a 6 month staggering format, than going all in. And also don't try to time the market. That's not going to happen through anyone. So, and also again, I've seen a lot of investors investing in markets directly versus mutual funds. So I would say, for people who do not understand markets so much, mutual funds is a better route to go and invest than taking the allocation head on by yourself, because again, the drawdowns in a stock portfolio can be fairly high compared to asset classes which are managed portfolios. So again, there is something that you can be a little more wise if you're just starting off.
I would like you to explain this staggered approach that you talked
Yeah.
about. How can someone do that across
le-
these assets? Like, just an example.
So let's say you have 100 rupees, right? And you want to invest this in, let's say, a portfolio of large, mid, and small, and then you want to get into debt a bit, and probably into some multi-asset where you get gold and silver exposure for that for matter, or you want to even do some bonds. So bonds and debt, you can go all in, because those are rate led, right? Interest rate led. So you want to capture that interest rate, so you want to go in all in. But let's say for any of the equity portion, what you do is do staggered, meaning you put 100 rupees. If it's through a mutual fund, you put it in a liquid fund. If you're doing stocks by yourself, you just put it in cash, and then keep adding into that position, and try to close that within 6 months. So you weekly stagger it from, if it's a liquid fund, just have a staggering weekly approach for the next 6 months, so that weekly there'll be some allocation. If you have 100 rupees, every week you have 7-8 rupees going into that fund. So what happens is, it helps you with volatility. It's a SIP for 6 months, but in a lump sum format. right? It's not really doing it monthly, but if you have money which is 100 rupees, you do not stagger it for 24, 36 months. That's too long a period, but at least it will help you with the volatility, and it will not be like you put 100 rupees, some announcement happened and market fell and you see yourself in red on day one. You won't want to do that. Yes.
And somebody who wants to start SIPs today,
Hmm.
how should they do this then? Like you talked about lump sum being
Right.
staggered. So somebody wants to do an SIP.
See, SIP is the simplest, right? Because it's anyways value averaging for you. So for an SIP investor, there's no need to think about anything. Because anyways you're building on your wealth, right? Which is anyways staggered. So the value cost averaging is already happening because of the format of the investment itself. For someone doing SIP, just get your goals in place and start doing the SIP anyway, because the overall market sentiment won't matter only because your SIP builds over time. Anyways, only after you do 5-7 years of SIP do you see meaningful corpuses and returns, right? That's actually the waiting period anyway. So for those investors, I would just say have your asset allocation again well placed. That's very, very important. But just keep your investment going, and especially if you have ongoing SIP, this is the worst time to stop it, because I've seen people worry about that and saying, oh, markets are not doing well, I'd stop it. Actually, this is the best time to you will get more units because the markets are falling. So this is actually your best time to average, and you're taking away this that best time from your portfolio. Because back when you started off, it was in 23, you were actually allocating at highs. Today you're allocating at lows. Do not stop your SIP. That will be the worst time.
So in terms of asset allocation, let's talk about these assets. For somebody's core portfolio, for main goals, what kind of assets to consider? Like you mentioned equity, bond, metal, global.
Absolutely. So you should have equities, which is domestic equities, spread over large, mid, and small caps. Then you should have some metals, gold, silver for sure. Now silver also. Earlier it was not such a big part of the asset allocation. Now because of its structural use also, it does add up. You can have
What percentage on total portfolio?
I mean, let's say if gold is about 7%, that can be 3%, something around that, right? So you can have some part into silver. So gold and silver as an allocation should be about 10-12%. I don't think anything more is meaningful. Then equities, I said, then some part in global equity, so it could be to the tune of 10% of your overall portfolio, and of course some part in debt, bonds, however you want to allocate the debt allocation, that again being 10-15% for the longer term I'm talking about. If this portfolio is 7-10 years, I think this allocation should be good enough.
And one thing you want to tell again to the SIP investors who are really worried about seeing red in their SIPs who've just started 6 months back or 1 year back and saying कि अरे अभी start किया था and returns नहीं है.
Yes.
One thing you want to tell them.
Actually, it's a great time for you. Actually, you're very lucky that you're accumulating more units at when the prices are dipping. So I think SIP users, for them, this should be the time to even step up if they have to. Rather than, just stopping the SIP. At least don't do anything with it. That will be the best way to go about it. And if you can, step it up. But anything to reduce or cancel is really not the right time to do. Reallocations can happen. Of course, you should keep reviewing what you are doing and shifting your asset allocation to the best of your goals and your needs, right? That is a ongoing process. But just stopping it because of your fear to the market is an absolute no.
So Sneha, I think it's important to also talk about managing risk. Return तो ठीक है, people are worried about कि returns नहीं आ रहे हैं, whatever. Returns तो आ जाएंगे, but looking at risk in today's market, somebody investing for say next 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, what are the risk elements that he should definitely consider so that he's not putting his portfolio into an unnecessary risk element? What should he avoid?
Correct. So I would say, as I said, right, how that pictorial thing was, where people now getting into metals in a big way. So if you're going to shift your overall full portfolio into something which may just do well for another 1 year or 6 months, that's not the best way to look at portfolio and creating portfolios and managing it. So I feel risk is defined by what's your expectation of the asset class over a longish period of time, not in a very short term, right? Because you're not a trader. Now, if you're going to do that, then you're acting like a trader, right? Because you're just trying to find asset classes which will give you or make you money every 1 year, which may be very difficult to forecast because then you're betting on asset classes for a very short term period. So that's, I think, not the right way of looking at it or doing it. Like, there was in 2023-24, everybody, started doing stocks on their own. All calls were going right. So people start thinking, they've really understood the markets well. But of course, markets have a way to showcase that it's not that simple, or it's not it's not everyone's cup of tea, right, to manage portfolios. So I would say that is the risk element one should look at when making the portfolio or when designing your own portfolio, that you don't go overboard into an asset class just because of the recent how it has done in the very, very short term. You have to kind of zoom out and look at it from a 5 year, 7 year perspective, because you cannot run, like, investing cannot be a sprint, right? It has to be a marathon. And to survive a marathon, right, you need to be disciplined, right? You can't start running for 1 kilometer very fast and then slow down your pace so much that you can't even finish the marathon. So look at it like that. Look at it from that perspective and zoom out a bit from all the noise that is there. Either way, going completely global or completely Indian, or all of this are risk management, right? And that's why there has to be space for each asset in your portfolio. And why do you even have debt, right? To give you that cushion, isn't it? Otherwise, you may be 100% equity if you're like, oh, 10 years it'll do well, right? If you look at linearly, it has actually done well. But would you go 100%? No, it's very difficult from a behavioral perspective to, remain in a portfolio which may not do well for three years. So will you be able to stick to it? No. So that's why you have the asset allocation to kind of even give cushions to your portfolio, and then there are growth aspects to your portfolio. So if it's all balanced, your risk will be balanced.
So, can I understand it like this, that first of all, regardless of what time you're starting, if you've already started or starting now, the idea is to be first understand your goals. You basis that you define a portfolio. At the time of defining the portfolio, you see, the allocation is such which is aligned with your goals, and then if the market will change, every 2 years, 3 years, some asset class will start giving good returns. दिस डजंट मीन कि आप उसमें चले जाओ या आप अपना पोर्टफोलियो चेंज करके उसमें चले जाओ, राइट? Absolutely, right? So I want to close this video with your view on saying कि मैंने एक पोर्टफोलियो बनाया, I made a portfolio, I selected some 4-5 different asset classes, I allocated something. Now say after 2 years, 3 years, there is a asset class which suddenly is doing well. How should I view psychologically saying अरे ये तो मेरे इसमें नहीं था, yeah, can I now shift to that particular asset class?
Exactly, right. It becomes
that's how it happens, right? Like why I'm asking this is, आज से 2 या 3 साल पहले जिन लोगों ने, let's say a lot of people do randomly, but let's say somebody actually made some kind of portfolio, and let's say silver or gold were not there or very less, right?
Actually,
suddenly are they panicking? they're feeling, I did not have gold, I did not have silver.
Actually, if you go to see, most portfolios would have not had silver, because silver was not an allocation a lot of people used to do before this whole rally of silver, right? So I would believe that, for either you have an advisor who got you allocated early on, and if you've not, and if you've missed the bus, I don't think this is the right time to go in it, because then you're coming in with a very different bias, right? unless you have this opinion of staying in silver from an allocations perspective and not just because you want that 150% return that is already given. If you want it from a more structural perspective, it's very different versus adding up, as I said, from a perspective of making quick buck. That is a very difficult, so even for small caps, right, people who missed the rally, who had no small caps probably in 23, they could have built up that position, right, with the SIP, like a lot of people did, or with a staggered investment approach. There will be a time when, markets will, also reward those undervalued stocks, today, or, there may be good times to buy for each asset class, right? So if you have not collected that asset class, don't go all in that asset class, especially when the prices have gone off the roof. I think then for that, I think a staggered approach is better to add as an asset allocation also.
So Sneha, based on research of your firm, what is the sector outlook, as on today?
So there are a few sectors which we are very, very positive on. One being banks. The margin pressure, right, will get eased now with the rate cuts getting absorbed. What we have seen from a banking perspective, the valuations are the lowest which it has been in the last 6-7 years. So we believe that banks may, do well. Private banks, the issue is they are already very, very large. So they may give good returns, but they may not be very exponential. But within the public sector banks, there are opportunities which could result in good returns given the lower valuations. So that is a sector as a firm we are very, very positive on. One of the other sectors that is a very clear indication of it turning around a bit is IT. But it's a little bit of a contra call. I would say do not be all in, because it's not the only benefit there is the earning yields are about 4.5%. So there we may see and they have not been basically these yields, right? They are not like when you look at the forecast, right? We have not seen that this sector has been already valued. These earnings have not been valued. So what is going to happen is there will definitely be some uptake there. So there may be good opportunities to make good money and get out of it. That kind of a thing may happen with IT. So it's a contra call. Wouldn't say go all in, but it's definitely a good sector to watch out for, given the various also things happening on the IT side, right? When there was IT boom back in 2000, after that, people made money, right? So similarly now with AI, etc., there could be something, happening in IT over a longish period as well. So that is something that we are looking at exciting, from a contra perspective as well. Then there is auto ancillary. Some of the auto ancillary businesses are looking cheap from a valuation perspective. So there can be opportunities there. From a structural perspective, I am very big on, a few sectors like consumption. I feel we are in that cusp of the Indian, demographic, where consumption can be a very good play, but it will be a longer term play. So it is not something you should go all in again, but you can build that position over time, because it's a sector which may do very well. See, the whole consumption theme, right? It's very there's no loyalty in these businesses, right? If you go to see, at least on the durable side, discretionary will do well, but we are going to see a lot of shifts from that perspective. So I would say do not add up like lump sums, but it is something you can build to enjoy good alpha in the longer term. Because consumption is a no-brainer, right? We are looking at per capita incomes to increase in the country. All of that will lead to consumption, and we can already see it with the new age. There is a lot of focus on consumerism in general. So there will be that structural growth that we are going to see in that sector. From that perspective, I'm very excited about the consumption sector.
Any sector that you think is overvalued, or it's something that you're not very positive about?
There are see, at the moment, right, we have seen correction from an overall perspective. So if you ask me, no sector is very overvalued, or there has been overall valuation that is corrected. So no sector is superly overvalued. Whatever corrections were going to happen have already happened at defense. Imagine that sector was unbelievably overvalued, back 7-8 months back. So there's been deep correction in a lot of pockets at the moment. So nothing from that perspective. But I think you should be a little choosy about a few sectors, because some of the sectors may take time to really do well, because there has to be some something that will drive these sectors. That's why I said, as an initial, I feel banking, IT, these sectors may do better than the others, and they may take a little more time to come do well, right?
And in terms of market cap of stocks, is it a good time to look at small cap and mid caps again, or they're still still you should wait?
See, in my view, at least in the next 3-6 months, large caps may actually do better in terms of only in the shorter term. But if you ask me in the longer term, great times to accumulate small and mids, but it will take time. So be ready for volatility, and that's why I did mention staggered approach. Be ready for volatility, but valuations have definitely corrected. So, but earnings are looking good, as already forecasted. So there will be, those will reflect in the overall pricing of the market. But at the moment, I would say just keep accumulating and building your positions than being all in or all out.
Okay. All right.
Yes.
Thanks.
Yes.